Question: how long can The View talk about the Supreme Court and Sam Alito before they bring up Clarence Thomas because he's blah, ha, ha, ha? Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are, as we expose The View and the left half of America, which are obsessed with Clarence Thomas because he's black and because he married a white woman, Ginny Thomas. It reveals everything you need to know about the Democrat Party. Otherwise, this is all just saber rattling, folks. Let's watch.
But a photo has just emerged from days after the Capitol riot on January 6th showing an upside-down American flag flying outside, wait for it, Justice Alito's house.
They're doing spy work at people's homes. It's Joy Behar. They have their night vision glasses, and they're pulling them out to see that there's a upside down flag at a Supreme Justice's house. I'm terrified that America knows where Sam Alito lives. I'm more afraid that The View is showing photos of Sam Alito's house than that he's flying a flag upside down, which, by the way, is his absolute American right, and it's been argued by the Supreme Court.
Now, in case you don't know, this is something that the MAGA people have adopted as a stop the steal symbol. In other words, when you see that flag upside down, that means stop the steal, which they imagine happened, even though Joe Biden did win.
Okay, to all my stop the steal people out there, honestly, did you know that the American flag upside down is a universal symbol of stop the steal? I'd never heard of it. I have fellow friends, tons of them, maybe even hundreds of them, that are stop the steal believers. Never once heard them. If it's supposed to be a common thing that you just communicate this shorthand, you show the American flag upside down. How come I never heard of it? I mean, maybe I'm the last to know. Certainly everyone else, certainly these people are the last. They didn't know. So no one knew what this symbol meant. But now, supposedly, everyone's supposed to know what it meant. Even though this photo was taken years ago and hasn't come out in the public, no one knows, no one cares. Suddenly, 4 years later, people care.
Legitimately, we all know it. Everybody who's not crazy knows it.
Proven.
It was proven over and over and over again. And yet Justice Alito has this upside-down flag, all right? Now, he claims his wife did it. Thank you, Senator Menendez. Another one. During a dispute with neighbors, he said she did it because she was disputing with neighbors about their anti-Trump signs on their lawn.
And why can't she dispute it by turning the American flag upside down? You know, Americans have the right to burn an American flag. You can burn it. So if all these people on the left, by the way, if any Supreme Court justice was burning an American flag, it would be their constitutional right. That's called free speech. You may not like it, but it's what makes America different from other countries. So you see people burning the American flag in all these parades. They're not imprisoning those people. They're not in trouble. Or if you stand by them, or if your spouse is desecrating the American flag, it's free speech. And you're allowed to hang a flag upside down in protest for whatever. I don't care what your reason is.
Even that annoys me.
Yeah.
That the wife is worried about anti-Trump signs in her neighborhood. Do you believe his answer to the thing that his wife did and has nothing to do with
I do believe it.
Stop the steal?
Yeah, they believe it, that this is about a protest of their neighborhood Trump signs. So what's the big deal? Now, they have to make a big deal out of this, because it's not about Sam Alito. It's about Clarence Thomas.
How about Clarence Thomas and Ginny Thomas? Ginny Thomas sent a bus to the January 6th insurrection, and Clarence Thomas is sitting on that court listening to insurrection cases.
Here goes. Sonny Hostin could not stay on topic. He had to bring up Clarence Thomas because, you know.
He's listening to election fraud cases. It's ridiculous. You know, what upsets me so much about it as an attorney is that the Supreme Court has always been sort of the bastion of the law.
Oh, no, it hasn't been. No. Oftentimes, the Supreme Court gets lots of stuff wrong. Dred Scott case. I mean, look up your legal history of all the times the Supreme Court was wrong. They get it wrong all the time. They all admitted they got it wrong on Roe v. Wade. And she's like, oh, I'm fainting. The Supreme Court, they get everything right. No, that's not the way America works. You can question the Supreme Court Who cares? You guys are undermining the Supreme Court now. For the whole rest of the show, they're going to talk about the Supreme Court being insuspect. What they mean is when the Supreme Court agrees with them, defending Roe v. Wade, basically, which is their only religion, they're going like, oh, they're so secure, they're so pro-law, they're so correct. And then as soon as they undermine it, they go, oh, they're so politically activist and people need to rein them in.
All right, it's where we look to for guidance. And now 60% of Americans disapprove of the Supreme Court.
Is that suddenly true? 60% of Americans disagree with the Supreme Court? No one should care what Americans think of the Supreme Court. They're not, you don't vote on them. They're not supposed to be respondent to the whims of the people. That's why you only have 9 of them who go away in a sequestered court to adjudicate what they believe the Constitution says. They're not supposed to be. So she's bringing out polls. It does not matter. I don't care if 100% of America is against the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and they do, right? I mean, 60%. It hurts me to my core.
It hurts her to her core. Sonny doesn't have a core.
And, you know, Justice Sotomayor has said it over and over and over again, but she said this. She said, will this institution this is after the Mississippi abortion case. Will this institution survive the stench that this creates in the public perception that the Constitution and its reading are just political acts?
Yeah, I got news for you guys. Boy, look at what is a political act now that Jack Smith has politicized the court. I don't buy it. Again, I don't care what if the public has a stench. I think the public has a bigger stench on the Supreme Court that this Ketanji Brown Jackson made it on the court, that Sotomayor, one of the dumbest people ever to make it on the Supreme Court, made it on the court. That's a stench. I don't know if they'll survive. Again, it's not up to my opinion.
I don't see how it is possible. If you have a Supreme Court justice, even if his wife did it, for days and days and days, right, having that sign there, that is a political expression that has no place.
We must stop it and burn it down. You know, she's ready to destroy them for their free speech. No, Sonny, you can turn a flag upside down and it should not make you hysterical. Only a totalitarian national socialist, if you know what I mean, gets upset about that.
Incredibly sad how dysfunctional. We've just seen the dysfunction in Congress, and now the dysfunction in the Supreme Court. So Americans have to be watching this and just having this crisis, existentialist crisis of faith in our most important institution.
I'm not seeing the crisis. I'm not seeing everybody freaking out. Really, I see people kind of shrugging, going, oh, I agree with that Supreme Court case. I disagree with that one. It's only the left that goes, we need to now remove the entire Supreme Court and wipe it out of existence and no longer listen to them and no longer have it as an educated body. You have to have them limited span of time that they can serve. We have to cut them off. We have to expand the Supreme Court from 9 to 13 people. That's the left. They're hysterical. The rest of America, they're doing their job.
And look, I think John Roberts has lost control of this court, right? You've got...
Maybe he agrees with them.
Well, I don't know if he does or not, but he's got a duty to the American people as Chief Justice.
She says he's lost control of the Supreme Court. What control is he supposed to push down from the top and make them all fall into line? How about let's start with, if he's going to get in control of the Supreme Court, let's start controlling the minds of Kagan, Jackson. Go control Sotomayor. Get in control of those 3 stragglers. That's not what she means. It's an imbecilic thing to say.
Let's just say if Justice Sotomayor had hung a flag upside down after Donald Trump was elected, we would be calling for her resignation.
That's right. We sure would.
It is so un-American.
I would not. I'd be calling for a resignation of the people that called for her resignation. Like I said, she should be able to put the flag upside down in protest. She ought to be able to burn it. She ought to be able to raise even you see Democrats putting up, what's the flag? The Ukraine flag. Even though I think it's a total desecration of America, I do not think it's a removable offense. I mean, you have to give people their free speech rights or you do not have a country.
Yeah, this lifetime assignments has got to stop.
Can I just
say,
and
they need to fix the Electoral College also because that's un-American.
They need a code of ethics.
It is
un-American.
That's Joey Behar just throwing in, by the way, and we have to fix the Electoral College. How quickly did the end of America come on the view? I'm Doug in exile.